this up and going. And I'm going to share the link. Okay, so today I will be going yeah, that's right, I have to press post. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to check to make sure I'm using the right microphone. Yep, the snowball. Alright, so today I'm going to be restructuring my main execute windows a little bit, updating them. Usually my show files have a very minimal number of execute windows, but what I found is that with rigs that have a whole lot of moving lights, I think this one has like 50 or so. You just can't really stay on only one execute window. I mean, you can, but it kind of limits what you can do. So I'm gonna move my microphone a bit closer. There we go. Okay, so here I'm still working on this. I've just added a few things. I'm gonna move these down. I'm adding a media execute window, and it's still a work in progress. As you can see, it's not even, the button isn't even on all the other pages. So that's the first thing. And for the media, I've taken a few clips I've gathered. These are just the my three favorite ones. I used to have about 20, but they all just seemed too cheesy, if that makes sense. These ones, if I open up here, if I open this up, there you can see. Oh wait, you can't. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so I'm in the Bitmap system, and you can see that this is some of the content I have here. Oh Lord, I have to fix that again. That's one thing that's kind of annoying. This one has video on it, or this is a clip I recorded with my camera when I was on the bus, and it has audio on it, so it plays through this. I completely forgot that Chamsys can, it can play through speakers. So yeah, Now the reason these are just kind of simple is because with this bitmap system, you can change the values, the RGB values of it. I'm still messing around a bit, and you can see it's lagging a bit because this is 4K video and my computer isn't meant for that. But yeah, you can see I can do different things, and I've only used this for like maybe an hour, so I'm still figuring a few things out. But yeah, that's the media folder, I think. Oh yeah, because I removed that group. Okay, because it treats it as a group. So I just have to go over. What should I call this? Media? Yeah. And I'll move this down here. And I'll also set an icon for it. What should it be? The one with color. There, now you can see I can copy the things. I don't have a macro assigned to the media window yet because I usually never use it. On my first show I did use it a lot because I had some LED bars, and that's how I would play like put color effects on them. But then I realized what you can do instead of using the bitmap, and it did not work very well because again, it's my first show on Chamsys, so it didn't really work very well. So I haven't really used it since, and I also discovered you can just add a normal color effect to it and it will work like that. But now I'm coming back to it with a new mindset. Now that I've kind of, I don't want to say mastered, but I'd say that's a pretty accurate way of explaining what kind of level I've gotten to. Now I've kind of mastered the normal parts of like using the standard, not using the bitmaps. Now I've mastered how I want to do everything else. It's kind of gotten, I think I'm ready to get back into the media portion. But anyway, so today I'm going to be basically filling out my other windows, which is kind of dull, but gotta do it, so I guess I have to redo that one too. Yeah, okay, so fader page, I have to fix that. How am I gonna do that? Done. So first, oh man, I should have put a bitmap on it first. Oh man. I don't think it ever gets too close to it, so I think I might move these a bit further so it's kind of like in the middle, and then this will go there and there. Actually, I like having the fader page all the way on the right, so. Wait a minute. So I'm not expecting to get a lot of people on this stream, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Because I'm used to not having lots of people on the stream just because that's how things always start out. Oh yeah, I need to make those buttons, so I'll make this page taller. Usually I have a few special buttons on my faders, and I'll probably do those sooner rather than later. I always try to keep my my Q stack window really clean. So you can see here I have my hazers all in one place. My spots my intensities are usually all right here, although they're kind of all over the place right now. Wait, is that one I even used? Ah, damn it, because I usually have a programming playback here. Yeah, okay, it's gonna. Is it? Yeah. Oh yeah, because this is a show file I used on the festival. That's what this is. This is this queue stack has 4 queues because usually songs have usually songs are in 4. So it go well. I can't really explain if you don't really know what music how. Yeah, I'm not good at explaining what it means, but basically, they're most songs have like I guess cycles of 4. So basically, what these are is it's basically like an intensity chase, but manual. So I can hit this flash button on the beat and have some cool like effects that are in time with the song. I just have to make sure it starts on Q1 whenever I want to start it. I can probably, yeah, I'll make a macro so it sets it to not a macro, Q stack macro. I'll just call them macros, but I'll make a macro that sets it to Q1, because that's something I didn't have when I was running the show for the music festival. Is I didn't have anything setting it to Q1, so sometimes I would use it and then it would be at like Q2, and then I would go to my previous page and continue doing stuff here, and then come back maybe like 2 songs later and have to use this, and it would start on the second queue. I'll show what it does once I've updated it, because right now it's still not updated. But these are it's kind of the type of effect I really like using, because it just lets you be a lot more flexible. If you want to do something that's like in time with the music, it's just a little like it's a cool effect. And I'm going to remove all of these. These are all for programming. These as well. Probably going to restructure that. Okay, so you'll see there's a structure to these, to the way I do my QStack window. So, but right now you can't really see it because what? Okay, so right now these are defaulted, so they stay on any. So if I change pages here, you can see here the page number changing because I'm changing pages. But these stay here because they're defaulted. Oh, I have to find a spot for my key light as well. That's something, actually, do I even have? No, I did not. Key light is front light. And usually it's kind of weird because it's impossible to find a spot for it. Like, usually, the way I set up, the way I like organize. Oh, this one's normal as well. The way I organize my playbacks is, it's the main. My workhorse light always starts on the right, so usually that's spots. And then if I have like some beam lights, some less bright lights that are less bright, then it's beams. And then it's I haven't encountered washes yet, but then it's washes, and then LEDs, and then LED bars. So usually on a full rig, usually on the full rig I'm gonna call it my house venue. It was the venue I worked. The venue. Well, it's not even a venue really, but the theater my high school had some great inventory, so I would just yeah. Okay, so yeah, so usually at my high school, what I would do is I would have spots, and then I would have my moving light beams, and those weren't really beams, they were washes, they were VO 500s, but if you bring the zoom, because some of them have a frost setting, so you can zoom it all the way out, and it has like, I think it's a 70-degree. It's something ridiculous where it can cover a ridiculous amount of range because the frost lenses, I guess, not lenses, blades. Yeah, the frost blades are right in front of the lights, so it can do some crazy stuff. But I basically use them as beams because if you have it as at the smallest, then it kind of just looks like a beam. I might be able to find, not might, I should be, no, not should. Let me just find a picture of it. Where's a good example? Here. So you can see here are the spots, and they were in red, so you know red's always a dark color. But this was one of my color palettes that I kind of needed to fix, but I never had time, because this is supposed to be Velvet Thunder, which is kind of like red, magenta, pink. But I didn't have enough time to add enough red, so most of it is magenta. Because what I do for me when I start off with making these is I pick a base color. So here, I'll do an example. Bring on my beams. Okay, so I'm gonna take them and open them up, and then show. Okay, so here you can see the beams are in some random color. So what I do is if I want to, oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, bless me. Okay, so if I want to start off with one of my fancy color palettes, what I'll do is I select a base color. So here we go. My base color is magenta, and then I clear that out. Actually, normally I don't clear it out. That was just yeah. So if I go back here, you can see here I have my output window set up as basically, if you've come from ETC on, it's basically a magic sheet, but it has all my fixtures, so I can select all of my fixtures, and also displays the color they're in. So I can bring all of these up, and you can see these ones aren't coming up because it's my key light, and right now I'm keeping those off so I can work on my backlight. I'm gonna take some of these. There we go. I'm gonna keep these up. They're not structured as they are in the actual plot. They're just, I made them this way so that it was easier to select them. Because what you can do is you can just go up here and select the entire row, and that's super useful for things like color swipes. So there we go. Because a color swipe, I'm not sure if it's different on MA. I haven't gotten to that point in MA. I've just started programming it with MA because it's more popular. MA is way more popular and commonplace in Toronto than it is in Belgium, unfortunately. I do think, though, MA is starting to become more popular. I've seen, or not MA, Chamsys, because I keep on seeing more and more big shows. Well, not more and more. I keep on seeing a few big shows start to use Chamsys instead. And when I say start to use, used to be all the big shows were MA, but now I'm starting to see people have like seen what Chamsys can do and how simple it is. And simple is not a bad thing. It's a very good thing in this case. They've seen what it can do, and they're like, oh crap, this is super simple and super easy. Because with MA, if you want to make like a color picker like this, you have to have like a million different macros. And I noticed, because I did it a few days ago, and it's ridiculous just to have this little graphical layout, right? But with Chamsys, it's literally like, if I wait, okay, here's an empty execute window, all right? So with Chamsys, it's literally, okay, I want to make like a color picker. Here, let me select the group I want. Here, yeah, I'm just gonna select all the groups I want. Boom, just clear the bitmap, and then let's see, I want my colors. So let's just copy that. Boom, boom, done. I mean, obviously they're all in this bitmap because that's the previous one. But then I can just select this whole row, and then where's white? There you go. Now they're all white. Honestly, I think this is something MA should like learn from. Like, because this way you can start with a brand new show file on site, and you can build a show file in an hour max, right? It won't be a very complicated one, but you will have a show file. With MA, you can't show up to a venue with no show file, because then you can't do anything. Like, okay, you can have intensity stuff, and you can have some basic color selection maybe, if you can kind of somehow if you can deal with having to select a group first and then having to go and hit a button twice, because I'm fairly sure there's no other way to do it. I'm pretty sure you have to select a group and hit the color palette twice for it to actually action. Then you can kind of do that. But if you want to have something like this, another thing is it won't have any icons, because you 100% will not be able to make a color picker with icons, with like images in time. Because it took me, I know I'm new to the software, but I knew how to do it, and it took me maybe 5 hours to make that color picker, and it was like 5 groups, and good lord, it took so long. But that's what's really powerful about Chamsys, is I can do this, just set all these as regions, and bada bing, bada boom, I'm done. Like, you'll see, I'm gonna build, this is my beams page, I'm gonna build this page super fast. Actually, am I, oh. Wait a minute, that's wrong. There we go. Okay, sorry for the little rant. Anyways, I see where the power with MA is. I just don't understand why they haven't implemented a simple way of doing things. It does not make sense to me. That sounded racist, but whoa, why are they still open? Uh-oh, I think we have some lights that do not. There we go, yeah. Just have to make sure they're all open. Just like that. And I do have to fix these gobos, because I'm thinking I'm gonna start making standardized gobo selections, because usually what I do is I just import, I don't import, Chamsys does it automatically. When I patch some moving lights that have a gobo wheel, it'll automatically import the gobos on that wheel, which is great. MA doesn't do that, which is also ridiculous. But so yeah, whenever I patch a fixture, it automatically brings in all the gobos for each gobo wheel. It brings in anything that's predefined in the, if I go over the patch, and here's VL, these ones, I'm gonna edit. If I go over into view ranges, yep, here we go. So when I patch this fixture, it will import, if I have it set to import, because usually I don't, because I do my own stuff. But if I yeah, you can see here, this means auto like import. I'm fairly sure that's what that means. I went into this and set only the gobos to 1. But anyways, you can see here, here's all my color wheel stuff, and then there's some color wheel scroll, and here's all the gobos. So this is part of the fixture profile. So whenever you patch this fixture, it comes with all of these already built in, so you don't have to do anything. You might have to update them. I have done that. Like if you have custom wheels, which I do, so I'm gonna have to update this. What time is it in Europe? It's a weird question, but I think it's yeah, it's probably too late. Because I've been making these streams so that one, I program a lot, and I feel like if I didn't, I mean, it's just nice to be able to stream, and if anyone, so people can see like what I'm doing, and if anyone has any questions, I can answer them. And because I've also noticed that especially when I started learning Chamsys, there wasn't a lot of video tutorials online. Like there was a few, but they didn't really answer the questions I was asking when I was learning the software. So I feel like this is a good way of putting a lot of stuff out there, because these streams are usually 4 hours, 5 hours long, right? And I did my basic live stream, the live stream on the basics, a few days ago, maybe a week ago, and that one had a few people asking questions and stuff. I will probably not the streams will probably slow down in how many I do, just because, like I said, I'm kind of transitioning onto MA, not because I have a choice, more like because I don't have a choice. Until maybe I tour, then I would definitely have a choice, but until then, I don't. So I'm probably going to switch over to MA. I am already actually switching over to MA, so I'm probably going to, the streams will probably happen less often, but I continue programming on Chamsys just because it's nice. It's really nice to especially if I'm programming on MA and it just gets really frustrating. It's really nice to be able to just come back and do some programming on Chamsys, because it's just it's a really nice software to program with, I think. I've said this before, everything is super simple, and not in a bad way. It's ridiculously powerful. Anyways, I feel like Chamsys is gonna get there soon, because okay, so one of the main things in my show file, and I know this is something that happens with other show files, most other show files too. I think actually I might have a window for my key lights. Sorry, I'm just thinking to myself. Or not. Could just bring this up. That's probably going to be most of this stream. It's just me thinking to myself. So yeah. So I have, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I do have to update these spot palettes. So I have red, blue. Probably, what I did was I used to, my old venue, I'm just going to call it a venue, but in high school, we had some VL2500 spots with a standard color wheel in it. And I didn't use that color wheel. I didn't use the color wheel a lot, and I used to think it was completely useless because of CMY. But then one of the moving lights, the magenta, I don't know exactly what they're called, if they're called wheels or flags. I've heard a lot of different names for them, but the components that make up the CMY module, because sometimes they're I don't know. Anyways, so I just call them flags, or usually I call them either flags or wheels. But the magenta wheel on one of our VL2500s got glitched and got an offset. Sorry, I'm eating gummy bears. anyways, one of our VL2500 spots had a glitch on the magenta wheel, where it would be offset. So whenever you're at like at the 100% magenta, the actual wheel would be like halfway or something like that. So whenever you were at 0% on the magenta, it would be like at full or something like that. And that really screwed with like the color effects, especially, well, it would screw with the CMY color effects. And I didn't know for months. I didn't know what you could do is you could go into the patch and offset specific channels until the very last, my very last show there, the day of. I'll explain that a bit. But so what I did is, instead of using the CMY, and this was this happened during not during a show, but during rehearsals for a talent show I was lighting. It happened, and so I already had like colors with the CMY set for a few. It was maybe halfway, so half of the cues I did like, I got half of the cues for the show, and so I was using CMY because it was working. But then one of them broke, so and we couldn't bring them down and actually fix it because we didn't have time. So instead, I just switched over. What I did is I made a glitched palette, and that basically had the one broken fixture, and because like, you know, there was a certain value in that, so I would have like, okay, so sorry, I have to so let's say it was this light, right? And what I did was I just bottomed out everything. Well, actually not everything. I just had an empty cue, not an empty cue. So what I did is I had a sorry. So I had a palette called Glitch Fix, and that was basically the CMY was at, or the cyan and yellow were at 0%, and the magenta was at like 40 or something, and that would basically fix that wheel so that it was at white. Because what would happen is if you had it at 0%, the magenta wheel would be at like, would be halfway open, halfway in. And so the palette basically fixed that and made it so that it was all the way out. And then I would just use the color wheel. I would just, like, I basically converted my entire show from the color wheel to, or from CMY to color wheel. And I found that I actually really liked the color wheel. So, and the colors on the VL2500s were really great. So I've decided that if I ever get a show, or like if I ever start touring or something like that, and I get to and have the option to have custom colors in the color wheel, then I will use the same colors that I had in the VL2500s, because they had some really cool mixes. So right now I'm fixing that. I completely forgot what that other color was. I could just bring it up. Blue/yellow, there we go. So now what I'm doing is I'm making it so that next time I import these, I don't have to automatically do the fix the icons. Oh no, don't rename that. Yellow/light blue. I probably have to close this. Light blue is basically just cyan. But darker, a little bit darker than cyan. More on the blue side. But just to make my life easy, I just usually make it cyan, because it's too much of a hassle to actually find a light like the light blue split colors, because it's just impossible. So I just use cyan because the cyan splits are more easy to find. They're still hard. I wish Chamsys would implement an easier way of setting these, but because right now they're just all in one place, and you kind of have to look through the list until you can find it. But what's the last one? I think it's orange. Did I actually make it orange? Because if so, that's stupid. No, I didn't. I made it green. Yeah. Yeah, because that makes it really. I really like magenta / green. It looks really cool. Green. Oh no, no, not split color. I need a color. Green. And then it's green / white. Because usually there's 11 on the wheel. On the VL2500 wheel. But there's only like 6 on the VL3000 spots, and I can't use the 2500s in capture because I don't have the full version. So, hey, if anyone wants to like give me a version, a license to capture Nexum, or not Nexum anymore, it's Capture 2018. Feel free to send me that. I've been using the student edition for like 2 years now. It's yeah. Really love capture. It's just good. Oh no. Actually, it should be somewhere. There it is. Alright, there we go. And I'll just save that as the head. And bada bing, bada boom. Now the reason I did that is because now you can see if I go through, it'll actually be the proper colors, except not the right names. Here you can see it says deep red, but the icon's green. Now this won't be the default, this is just my because basically in capture, I changed, if I go through the color wheel here, I changed, oh wait, you have to bring that up, okay. I changed the color wheel. I changed the colors that were in the color wheel, so that they would be better, because the standard ones aren't really good. So magenta. Yeah, here's why it's my favorite. Let me do a spread. Oh, I have to tilt it. Yeah, there you go. See, it looks so cool. Anyways, I'm gonna take these down because they're bright and the zoom is wide. That's why whenever I'm programming with spots and I'm using capture, I always bring the zoom all the way to the minimum. Keep the iris at full, but the zoom at see, that's just too wide, so boom. See, now you can kind of see what it looks like. So sometimes I'll just take the iris to medium or something like that, but yeah. Anyways, on to some random programming. Man, I can't play music because copyright. I wish I could just say, hey guys, I don't want to steal your stuff, I just want to stream. I wish. Actually, yeah, I don't need any groups for keylight, because keylight's just keylight. Alright, so these two groups, they are important. And you will see why. Right, okay. So, in my usual color picker, what I have is this. So that's what these two groups are. And they're very important because they play a role in this color picker and this color picker right here. So basically, what I can do, I'm still deciding whether, oh, I have to fix something here. There's a group that's that doesn't have the right stuff. Not that one. If anything, yeah, it's the key. Yeah, it doesn't have orange. Okay, I'll fix that. Okay, so that's a problem that was kind of really annoying when I was starting. So which took a while to figure out how to fix it, and it was just an annoying like graphical bug. But here you can see, actually you could probably see it better if I go and do this. So it's not doing it. Okay, so okay, anyways, what's happening here and why you can see this one is still activated is because, oh, that's a dilemma. Okay, I just realized. Okay, the reason it's doing that is because the key light, the moving light washes, those ones that are for the front lighting, they don't have the values for orange. I will put them in right now, but the problem with that is, actually first, before I do that, I need to, no, actually this has to be the straight. And I have to, nope. Oh, I hate these things so much. So you can see there's a little fade to them, and that's because they have a movement speed channel. Okay, I swear to God. There we go. They have a movement speed channel on them, and for whatever reason, the standard on it doesn't make it go immediately. It puts a fade on it for some reason, which I have no idea. Uh-oh, no, damn it. Okay, you can see here, actually I do have to update a few of these. Do I? Oh, wait, what? It disappeared. Actually, yeah, wait, it actually disappeared. Oh no, there you are, okay. It didn't disappear, okay, that's good. So you can see here, these are red, because that means they're linked to another palette. I should maybe rename this to like Chamsys Basics or something like that. Part 2. Programming / there, I'll call it Basics. And just, alright, there, I changed the title of the stream, alright. So, because I was just explaining some troubleshooting stuff. Alright, so, here's my keys. And you can see I haven't recorded palettes for these yet because only a few things light up. Anything that doesn't light up there's nothing recorded for it. And something I really like about, Chamsys, and something I have not, okay, I've used the ETC, I've learned, well, I've started learning EOS and GrandMA too. And something I've noticed is that they don't have a way to see what's in the programmer or what's in queues. They don't, at least not easily. Here, if I want to see what's in a palette, I can just go see, just select this and view palette and see what's in it and see exactly what's in it. So it makes troubleshooting a million times easier, because then I can say, okay, here we go, here's my down palette, and these are just supposed to be tilts. If what's happening is it's going, because what I did for this palette is I just selected the center one and recorded that here. So now this palette right here is linked to the center. But the problem is, you can see here, it has pan values in it. So I don't want those because I just want the tilt. So there we go. A new feature, which obviously I haven't seen used anywhere, is this set tracker right here, which is really cool. Like, I can't like, the coolness factor of this is through the roof, and I'm so happy it's there. I'm probably never gonna use it because I don't do shows that big yet. But okay, I have to fix this fade time. But what it does, probably gonna put the fade times on 200. Yeah. So it's gonna be, fuck. No fade. Okay, there we go. But I have to actually change this to be ultra fast. Now, the question is that actually ultra fast? Yeah, that's more or less ultra fast. And actually, if I, wait, what's the difference? Is there a difference? Is there one that's more ultra fast? You know what? Here's a way of finding that out. And here's, so that's ultra fast. Vector. The hell is that? 25. See, this is why I wish I had a wing. I was thinking about getting a Chamsys wing, and I'm still kind of unsure because the thing is, if I do go and end up using MA quite often, then there's not really any point in getting a Chamsys PC wing. I will, although I will probably end up, if I do become like a big time LD, and I don't hope I do, I will do, because I have a ridiculous drive, and that's not like trying to brag or anything. It's yeah. Anyways, okay, let's try this. Kind of lost track. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's that. Here, let me move this. So here's how you test. Right. What was I saying before? Oh yeah. Because the bitmap system on Chamsys is really the bitmap system on Chamsys is really great, and I've actually seen another LD use a Chamsys for the bitmap along with a Grand MA. So he had, I'm not entirely sure if this is why he had a Chamsys next to him. His name's the Laser Shark, or Greg Ellis. He's the LD for Pretty Lights, and he posted a pic of his Red Rocks rig, and he had a Chamsys MQ80 next to his Grand MA. Didn't really say what he was using it for, but I'm guessing he was using it to, yeah, that's the fastest one. I'm guessing he was using it to for the bitmap, because the bitmapper is really great, and the bitmapper on MA, from what I hear, is not so good. So no fade. Anyways, so yeah, what I was saying is trackers. Right, let me get back to the point. Trackers are these brand new things that let you have an external device, a tracker, modify values of a palette. This is an extremely specific feature for very specific things. But if you go to view automation, you add a new macro, you can see here you can add a tracker, and you can set this tracker to something. I'm not entirely sure, they haven't really explained too well how this is supposed to work, and how you're supposed to like assign these trackers or like plug these trackers into the console. But basically an external device, so maybe a sensor or something like that, right? So if you have a sensor, sorry, just blanked for a bit. If you have a sensor that is connected, wait a minute. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. If you have a sensor, yeah, I do that a lot. I have, I'm like a squirrel, like, squirrel, nuts, what, trees? Yeah, sorry. So basically what a tracker can do, it's, man, this is gonna, if someone's watching this back, like, later, and you're like, okay, get to the point, what the fuck is a tracker? Sorry. Okay, so what a tracker does is basically the palette value changes according to what the tracker is giving. So if you have, like I said, I'm not entirely sure what kind of trackers they were implying were good to use with this, and it's with the new update 1.8.7.9.9. Wait, 1.7.9.9. Yeah, that's the new one. Let me get that up and actually look at it. Chamsys. Well, what is it called? Not the update log. I guess update log. Okay, I'll just go to the home. Oh yeah, wasn't the Chamsys website supposed to have a new look eventually? I thought they were supposed to have, like, eventually get a new UI. I guess not. There you go. Software changelog. Okay, 9.9.9. Is it actually? Yeah, I don't think it's actually in. I think it's in the manual. They didn't really put anything in the changelog because one day they weren't there, and then one day I saw. Actually, I can't remember where oh yeah, I was doing some automation stuff in the macro window, and I saw you could add a tracker, and I texted my friends, and I was like, "What the fuck is a tracker?" And there was nothing in the manual or the update logs, so I was just kind of confused. Yeah, so it looks like it's in the manual. All right, I will go to to the manual just to, because the manual will give a better explanation of what those are than I can. Patching palettes, tracker palettes. All right, here we go. All right, tracker palettes. Okay, so there are special palettes that use a remote tracker device. So basically, the value isn't absolute; it can change. Right. Oh, that's cool. Right. So basically, what this means is, okay. What this means, oh, lordy, I need some coffee. What this means is if you have a tracker that is, if you have a sensor, like I don't know, if you have something, a tracker on like a singer or something, what you can do is you can have that tracker link into Chamsys, and you can have a position palette that changes based on the value that's outputted by that tracker, which means you could, oh, that's so cool actually. I've said a lot about this new feature, but like that's ridiculously cool. So what you could do is you could have a bunch of moving lights set to that palette that's a tracker, and you could have those moving lights follow the lead singer if he has the tracker, which would make life really a million times easier, because then you don't need follow spots really. Then you just have to have a bunch of moving lights that are linked, that have a tracker, and that would just mean, I mean, it would probably be cheaper or about the same price as the new as those like follow spot moving lights, where they have like a camera built into the moving light, and they have a remote control set up so that there's a guy looking at a screen with it's a weird system. Basically lets you turn moving lights into follow spots. That's the new system, and they're very, very expensive. But you could completely bypass that system by having a tracker on the main band members, and having that tracker just change the value of the position. So basically what you could have is you could have like 4 spotlights that are always on the lead singer no matter where he moves, because he has a tracker on him, and they're basically just they have a palette where it's cool. If you don't understand, the manual's good, but like it basically means if you have a production level where you can have a tracker device on a person. So let's say you have a tracker device and you put it on the lead singer of a band. You can have that tracker device send position data to Chamsys. And basically what you can do then is, let's say you have these, actually it would be key lights. So let's say you have these 4 moving lights on the lead singer, right? What you could do then is you could have a palette just called lead, and it would be linked to a tracker, and those 4 moving lights would basically be on that lead singer wherever he goes, which is insanely cool. But I don't even know like anything. I don't know anything about trackers, or like what kind of trackers, what company makes them. I'm not sure. But anyways, getting back to this show file, and actually I'm gonna get back to actual programming now. But all right, so as you can see here, I still have my groups here. I need to make that a default. Oh, right, I should probably explain defaults. So you can see here, these playbacks right here say DEF or def. It stands for default. So basically, if you change windows, playback windows, they will say that, and they won't start flashing, which is ridiculously annoying. When they're flashing, it means they're held over, and they'll start flashing like this. And if you bring it all the way down and deactivate it, they're gone because they're on page 1, right? But if you have it defaulted, then it will stay on any page. Unless there's like, if I take this output and I move it to page 2, so now it's on page 2. If I go to that, it will, you see it replaced playback 9, right? Even though this playback is defaulted, it replaced it because it's there. So it basically, defaulting just basically copies, I don't know a better way of explaining it, but it basically means these playbacks will stay on any page regardless. So if you accidentally press the page button, like if you accidentally go to a next page, they'll still be there, which is really useful for your main stuff like intensity faders and stuff like that. I don't actually know that many people who, oh actually I have to bring this back over here, right. I don't know that many people who page around on playbacks. I think it used to be a big thing with older consoles because touchscreens didn't exist, but now that touchscreens do exist, there's a lot of going through pages on the touchscreen instead of going through different playbacks. I've always really wanted to have that style of a show file, but I could just never make it work well. I just find it way easier to have everything centralized like this, because this way I change pages for a few special effects, and that's it. Like the special effects are things I need to have, like I need to have buttons for. So this right here. But other than that, they're all, everything's on my touchscreen. My rule is if I need to hit it quickly, it's going to be on my playbacks. Oh, damn, and if it's something to build with, like, palettes and colors and stuff like that, then it's on my touchscreen. So all of my effect selection is on my touchscreen, and I just control the size with this fader. So really, I don't need any more playbacks than this. Like, it's ridiculously useful because then you don't need an extra wing. I used to, be dying, like going, oh, I really wish I had like an extra wing, and then I realized I don't actually need an extra wing because, when am I gonna have more than, what is it, like 6 intensity groups? I'm not. So I just usually do this. And what I used to have all of my like playbacks just filled with stuff. Like I would have a position effects speed next to the position effect size, and then I would have speed masters for the color effects and the intensity effects. But then I realized I really don't need those. I can just have to time my color effects and intensity effects, because whenever I would put in a speed master with a fader, I would always have the fader at full because I was using the tap to time. So it was completely useless, really. I still have those here just in case I want to slow something down a little bit. But and my position effects size, or my position effects speed master is still on a physical fader. I will never put that on touchscreen because I just need to have physical, like I need to be able to touch that because I change it like so often, and I really like being able to do really, really slow movement effects. So I just set it so that the grandmaster is my position speed master, and it makes it super great because oftentimes during a show I accidentally push all of my faders to full. It's just a habit. It's a bad habit, but it's a habit nonetheless, because what I'll do is I'll set up like a look, I'll select some effects in my effects window, and during, if it's like before a drop, I'll do all this, and then at the drop I'll just push all of my faders to full, because what I'll do is I black everything out during, because there's always that dead space after, like before a drop, and especially in like EDM music, there's always that dead silence, like 1-2 second dead silence before a drop, where usually everyone just goes to black, right? I do the same thing, and then so I bring all these faders down I just like put my entire arm across the board and just bring them all down, and then I activate all the effects I want, and then I usually forget to tap the time beforehand, so yeah, I have to get used to doing that. But so all my position effects don't go off of the tap to time, because that's something I found really annoying until I realized, hey, I can actually fix this, because usually if you don't set these position effects right, what's going to happen is they're going to take, if you tap the time, if you use a global tap to time, they will affect the position effects, and your movement effects will go a million miles an hour, when all you really wanted to do is make a slower color effect or a faster color effect. So what I do is I just have all of my movement effects, when I record them, I set the speed of, usually it's 99, but it varies. Basically I just set it at a speed that I think is the fastest I'm ever going to want it. And then what you can do is, if you go into view item, view option, and go to the audio tab, right here, the rate divisor, you can set that to inhibit. And that basically means you can tap the time all you want, and this effect is not going to be, these movement effects won't be affected at all. The only things, so it basically means anything that has inhibit on the audio section, on the rate divisor, is not going to take any of the tap to time or global tap to time, which is super useful for position effects. That way you can have, instead, because usually people have like a button here, right? So they'll basically go and have on the touch screen, they'll just tap the rate on the touch screen, and that has a bitmap. But anyways, they'll have different tap time buttons on the touch screen to set the times for their intensity effects and color effects. I used to do that, and then I realized, oh, it's just annoying to have to tap two things at two different things. Like if I want to do a cool like effect with intensity effects and color effects and position, I have to like go and tap the time both, and it's just annoying. I don't really like tapping on the touch screen. I mean, for selecting things, it's amazing. I would never select things on playbacks, but like having to tap the time and do like, I've seen a few people put strobe buttons on their touch screen, and I just see that and cringe, because I can't do that. I have to have physical buttons for those. I can't just hit a touch screen, because like I always have that anxiety of, what if like I miss the button on the touch screen, or what if the touch screen doesn't register it, or something like stuff like that. So I just put my strobe buttons on playbacks, and if you don't know how to do that, you just go, they're not playbacks. So what you can do is you can turn execute window 1 into a grid of 20 by 20, or no, not 20 by 20, 10 by 2. So it's a 20 grid. And that basically, so all of these buttons right here, all the go and pause buttons for every playback, we can turn those into flash buttons. So you can see here, you can actually see the names of those flash buttons. So you can see that these are all color flash buttons. So if you go over here, you can see I'm hitting those flash buttons, and it's just changing the color. Now if I have an underlying effect, so let's go to rainbow barf here. So now I have a color palette selected, and you'll see I've turned stomping off in my show file, because I hate stomping. I used to have it on and didn't realize, but well, I did know what was happening, but what would happen is whenever I would hit, so let's say I have a color effect going on, you can see it going there. Let me actually change that effect to like rainbow. And actually I need to take some of these lights off because they're not on the effects. Right, so you can see here there's an effect going on, right? And what would happen is when I would hit one of the flash buttons, it would stomp the effect out. And I would have to to get it back, I would have to take this fader down and bring it back up, which was super annoying, because then if I just want to like override something and just hit white, you know, and stay there so I can select a different effect, or if I just want to do that during like a specific beat in the song, if I just wanted to hit white and then go back to my effect, I would have to reactivate the effect. But since I've turned bumping off, I can have this effect running in the background, and these flash buttons, they just override it. So when I release it, it goes back to that effect, which is super useful, and it's all about making it easier to run a show. That's the main thing with like making a show file. You want to make a show file you can run easily, so you don't have to think when you're running the show file, running the show, right? You don't want to have to like hit a button and have it do something you don't want it to do. So to make it not stomp, you have to go to setup, and it's in one of these windows. Like, I'm not entirely sure. I think it's in playback. Yep, it's in playback. So you go to setup, the playback window, and right here, stomp playbacks. You can set that to no, or you can set it so it only stomps LTP or HTTP. And HTTP, if you don't know what HTTP and LTP is, I can explain that away. It's actually, yeah, LTP and HTTP is super simple, but yeah. So I have that set to no, and you can see right here, here's some other settings for all my playback stuff. So if you want to set these go and pause buttons to be flash buttons, it's super simple. You just go over setup playback, and then you see this right here, the playback go / pause uses execute grid 1. You can just set that to yes, and if you haven't already, it will automatically make a grid on execute 1 of 10 by 2. And then you can use those as flash buttons. So you can see here, I have like strobe buttons and stuff like that. So usually I have, so if I have strobe lights, like atomics or something like that, I usually have a separate button for those. So that's what Strobe is. It's my dedicated strobe lights. So that's that, and then strobe is just like synced strobe. So if I go over, there you go, it's synced strobe, and then random strobe is, guess what? It's random strobe. And then like if I want to, oh, I can't show it here. Actually, yes, I can. Because you can't, if you don't have a playback wing, this is hard to show, because these are all flash buttons. You have to hold them down, but here I'll just make it a button. Right. Okay, so now if I want to strobe, actually I'll just put it to white. I'll do the white. So now if I want to strobe white, I will just hold down the white button and then hit the strobe button, and then it's strobing white, and then if I release that, it goes back to the standard color, to whatever I have selected in the background. One thing I used to do is actually a quick tip, if you want to turn these into flash buttons, so they only like temper, so they do this, is you see it says FL, that means flash. Actually I always wondered what the FL meant. I just realized now it means flash. But here you can, item type, you can change it. So you can make it a fader, you can make it a solo button. I'll explain that soon. This is a radio button, and then you can make it a flash button. So it only stays on as long as you hold down the button. And you can see here I have a whole bunch of, I usually have all of these buttons filled. Mostly filled. So I'll explain these. So these are good. So to do strobes, there's probably an easier way of doing it than the way I do it, but that the way I do it is foolproof, and that's how I like it. The other way is, let's see. Yeah, if you set this right here, unused channels return to defaults. If you set it to like yes all heads, and take this with a grain of salt, because this is what I think should happen. I haven't tested it, but if you have the default of the strobe channel, the shutter channel set to open, I'm fairly sure what you can do is you can have just a 1 Q with like your strobe, So like you could go all and where's my strobes? Here we go. You go shutter fast and record that and have that as one. You know what? I'm gonna test it. Man, I don't know. I do not like this. Alright. I actually have to set this button to be a flash. Oh, it's already a flash. Okay, it's good. So now, oh, that works. I didn't know. Okay, that's a great way of making a strobe button. It's really simple too. Oh, I have to change that macro, right? Okay. When I'm doing theater shows, there's a lot of going through cues and stuff like that. What now? It's not there. Okay, I have to find out what's assigned to that. So when I do theater shows, I often have my go button and my pop. So usually I have my go button assigned to page up, and I have my down button assigned to page down. So then I can go through my main cue stack and go through all the cues super fast and really easily without having to, you know, go to cue and stuff like that. So usually I have these macros. These macros are always here. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. In an effort to make it simpler, actually, I think. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I'm gonna reassign this. Boom. Alright. So the reason this at was assigned to page up is because on the keypad to select a head, so if I want to select head 2, you have to go at, and I don't want to have to press shift 2 each time to do that. So I had it assigned to page up, so I could just hit page up twice. But now I can just, I've selected, if you have a numpad, if you look at the numpad right above the 8, there's like a dash, or I don't know what those are called. Yeah, I think that's a dash. Because there's also like the upside down dash. I don't know what that's called. But anyways, there's a dash, and so I have that. You can see here what it's assigned to. It's assigned to the dash. So now I can select, let's say 5 plus 8. There we go. I've just selected those two heads, which is super useful for if you're someone who really uses the numpad a lot, not the numpad, the keypad for selecting heads. So I can go like 10 through. Actually, no. Yeah, that's another thing I have to reassign. Right now I have my through button assigned to T, which is not close to the numpad. So, but here we go. There we go. Selected heads 10 through 20, and I can like go to full and stuff like that. So if you're someone who really uses the numpad a lot, that's great. If you want to select a group, you just go. You hit whatever group number. So I'm going to select group number 8. So group number, and then you hit the star button twice. So here I'm going to select group 5 star. You can see the first star right there, and I hit star again, and there we go. And that's, you don't have to reassign that to anything because that's already on the keypad really close. I kind of wish I could reassign my num key. Oh wait, I can. Oh my god, I just realized I can because I have a new keyboard that lets me do that. You'll get to see what all my keyboard macros here. So the way I've set my keyboard up is I can individually set the color to each key. So I have these are all of my keys. So everything that's in a different color is set to a macro. So you can see these are all my window buttons. Everything here that's colored has a function. The red stuff is like function stuff. The yellow is window, and green is, this is my autosave button, and this is for like numpad stuff. But I should, actually it's not going to be in light, oh crap, it's not going to be in lighting. It's going to be over here. So what I can do is I can take this button. Yes, I can change the function. So what can I make this do? Oh, through. There we go. So now it's set to T. So you can see now when I hit that button, yeah, perfect. So now you might be able to do this with standard keyboard and software. I'm not entirely. You should be able to. But if you just have a really nice keyboard, you should be able to do it with the software. But here, I can really easily select heads. Oh, that's amazing. Sorry, I just found that out. That's perfect. Oh, because now it's not on my T button, it's on the numpad button, which is super close. Okay, sorry, sidetracked. Anyways, so yeah, that's the syntax for that. Oh, that is something to consider. Because the problem with having the setups, the default channels, oh no, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Yeah, I just realized why it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work because if I have Gobo selections, they're all going to go back. Yep. Alright, so I'm gonna select the smallest the iris, the smallest iris palette I have, and this is in the programmer, right? So if you go, you can see it, there we go. And I'm just gonna clear the programmer. And it goes back to, yeah, that's why I don't use it. Yep, exactly. So the problem with this is that, yeah, that sucks. Okay, the problem with that is if you clear the programmer, it will clear everything. But it won't clear, it will set everything back to the defaults. So, yeah. Now, here you can see why that doesn't work for flash buttons. Here you can see the strobe is, this is strobe, right? You can see the strobe is deactivated, but since I pushed it once, it's still activated because the channels don't go to the default. Now, here you can see what these are. Here, there we go. So, my normal strobe buttons have 2 cues in them, and they have a specific way of setting them up. So here, if I look into the 2 cues, the first cue is it sets whatever. Here, if I go here, it sets the shutter to full strobe, and then the last cue sets the shutter to open. So now, if I hit this button, you can see. Well, you can kind of see it if I hit it really fast. And actually, if you hit it really fast, what will happen is it won't properly execute the last cue. So what's happening here is when I'm activating this cue stack, it's going to the first cue. So it's strobe to max, right? And when I release it, it's actually, here we go. So here we go. So you can see here, when I release it, it executes the last step. And it also resets it to the first step, right? So that means whenever I release the button, it's going to execute the last cue, and the last cue, as we know, is open. So that's the strobe button. There you go, done. And you know, you can kind of see it working there. And this is, yeah, this will happen with anything. If you hit the button, sometimes if you hit the button too briefly, it won't properly execute the last cue, so it'll still strobe. That's super easy to fix. Just hit the button again, and just make sure when you hit the button, you don't like hit it super quickly. You just, you know, like even just like this, it's fine. But if you hit it too briefly, it might glitch out. But anyways, so yeah, and then swipes. I'll finish with this row. So here I've got my even and odd. This is really, really standard stuff. It's just even odd for rock concerts, but it swaps. So if I have, it's kind of hard to show it in work here, but you can see here, if I have any fixtures on, you'll swap them and go to that selection. Now you can kind of see there's a sort of a problem with this, but it's not a problem when you actually have the real buttons, where it goes back to the full rig when you release the button. But if you have the actual, if you have like a console, you don't see it because of just the way how you push it, because you can hit both buttons, right? You don't have to use, like if I could hit these faster, you wouldn't see it. But Oh yeah, yeah, sometimes there's a little glitch and you actually see it still activated. Anyways, oh yeah, that's if you do that, yeah. If you highlight, sometimes it'll activate something. Um, but yeah, so these swap, these also swap, and these are really, really cool. I love these two buttons. It just turns on the left side of the rig and the right side. So you can make, actually you can kind of see it. If I do it, yeah, you can kind of see what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, it's kind of hard with just a mouse, but yeah, it just flashes left half and right half. This, uh, this is a button I programmed while I was running a show, because I realized I do a specific selection way too often. They're blinders, so it just temporarily moves all of the moving lights to a blinder position that I have, which is here. You can see it's just right into the audience, and it sets everything to white as well. I mean, actually, I might as well take that white out. I usually don't have the white in. I don't know why it's there. Yeah, that's weird. It's on everything actually. That's weird. Usually I don't have the white in this button. I just have, so what it does is you can see here, it sets the pan and tilt to straighten blinders, and then it sets the gobos to open. And that's super useful, so that if there's a build up and there's that drum beat that's way too fast for any actual drummer to do, where it's just ridiculously fast and you're hitting your strobes right before the drop, it's super useful because you can go to this, you can go here and then strobe into the audience, because I mean it looks cool, right? So you can strobe into the audience and you don't have to go in, you know, and open up the gobos and the execute windows. You don't have to open up the gobos or set everything to white or set the positions. You just hit this button and it doesn't stop anything else, so you can just go back to your selection anyways. So yeah, super useful button, and I programmed it while I was doing everything. I just hit blind, which is what the blind button is for. If you want if you're doing something, you're running a show and you want to program something live, you just hit blind, and then anything that's in the programmer won't actually output until you hit blind again. But here's the trick: you just clear the programmer and then you hit blind. So yeah, and then so the other buttons, these buttons are new. Usually I have dedicated buttons, so I have a swipe to white button, which is from left to right, and then next to that, and now I usually don't have these on the console or the wing. I usually connect a keyboard up and have, no one's asked me how to explain this yet, so I won't explain it now, but or how I do it. But I basically have a keyboard hooked up, and I'm pretty sure this doesn't work on consoles like the MQs or the MQ500. I don't know why you would need it on the MQ500 anyways, but if you're on PC, what you can do is you connect a keyboard, an external keyboard, and you can set it so that the F1 to F12 keys are flash buttons, extra flash buttons, and those just use these playbacks right here. So I can basically put stuff on these playbacks, and my keyboard buttons will activate them. And there's a whole bunch of macros to do that, and I can explain that, but no one's asking me to, so I won't. But anyways, what I used to have swipes on the keyboard buttons. So I would have a swipe to white, I would have a swipe to, it was the same layout as my main color flash buttons, so swipe to white, swipe to yellow, magenta, etc. But then I realized, well, what if I want to do different colors? And I don't really want to, have 5 different swipes, because it takes time to make those swipes. Like if there's not really any easier way than making a chase, right, for making swipes. Because basically what you're doing is you're basically just selecting a group, then hitting, so I'll just show the start of how that works. So go over, select a color, record that, boom, okay, go back, select the next row, select the color, boom, and do that for the rest of the grid. So you have like 16 cues here, and it's a chase, right? So I can actually show you the actual chases for these. So here you can see there's just a whole bunch of cues, and it's a chase, right? With you have to set the crossfade to, usually what I do to make it look right, like an actual swipe, I set the crossfade to 0 and set the chase speed to ridiculous, and then it looks pretty fun. So that way, I also make it so that the last cue halts. That way it doesn't continue swiping. But what I did is I realized I can just set these as soft palettes and then change those soft palettes during the show. So that's what these are. So if I want to swipe to right and I want it to be red, then actually I won't show up because here I have to set a position. Let's do splay. So now if I want to swipe to, let's go over to effects, I want to swipe to white and I want it to be from left to right, then I can do that. I just select these, and because these are when I made, wait a minute, wait a minute, I just realized something. These aren't on the right side. There we go. So these just use the soft palettes. So now if I use this, oh wait, they're actually just named wrong apparently. Oh. There's a cue somewhere. There is a cue somewhere that is setting everything to red. This is a great time to do some troubleshooting and explain some troubleshooting. Alright, so here you can see whenever I swipe my white in, oh damn it, it was that cue, okay. Let me turn it back on. And it doesn't do anything. Ah, there we go. Okay, so here you can see this rainbow 2 cue stack is activated. I do know how. It wasn't in the execute window. I have to fix that. And I don't have my colors there. Yeah, okay. So what was happening is when I would swipe to white and release it, it would go back to this red color, even though I don't have anything selected as red, anything active in the programmer. I don't have anything, right? So because usually it just stays white. Now first thing, if you have something like this happen, first thing to check is make sure, just clear the programmer and try it again. If it's still like that, you just go to your cue stack store and look at the cue stacks that are active. Usually it'll just be, it's as simple as something that's not supposed to be activated. So in this case it was this cue stack, which is a color effect, but it's not supposed to be activated. Because the way I do my color effects is I have them all in one region, but these are new ones, so they're not in that region. So when I selected it, it just stayed on, and now I've deactivated it. Oh wait, you didn't see that, damn. Okay, let me redo this. Okay, so you just go to the cue stack window, and oh yeah, I moved it. So the problem was, so if you've cleared your programmer and it's still happening, you just go to the cue stack window and you check what's activated, and you can, I mean, kind of easy to tell how to tell what's activated. If it's activated, it's red. So this color effect was activated, and if I just deactivate it, it works perfectly. My swipe stays as white. Oftentimes though, I found when I use my swipes, one of the things I found is oftentimes I want to swipe to a color and stay in that color. But if you release it, then it goes back to whatever selection you had in the programmer. So if you had like rainbow barf or something in the programmer and you swipe to right and you want to stay in that, you can't release it. So something that's super simple is, you know, just boop, there you go, and then you can release it. I mean, you could make it so that it stops, but then again, that you run into the problem where if you set your show file so that it swaps, then you can run into a whole bunch of other problems where things you don't want to swap. So, and plus sometimes I want it to swap, so I'll hit the white, and I just want to go back to the color I was previously in. So rainbow barf, right? And I just want to swap to that white, and then I'll go back to rainbow barf, and that works perfectly. That way I can have both. I can, do a swipe to left, and if I want to stay in white, I can just go over, still holding this button. Obviously I can't hold down the button because I don't have a wing, but keeping this button down and just go over to white, and there you go, it works. And you can let go of the swipe button. So these all use, these don't have any bitmaps on them. I'll fix that. So these don't have, these are just soft palettes. You can see right here. These right here are the soft palettes, and I put all of my soft palettes in the same place, super far away from everything else. Here we go. So here's all my, actually I don't know why UV is there, that's weird. Yeah, here's my soft palettes. I have two soft palettes so I have a soft palette for the, I don't think I can switch those, because it's going to switch the touchscreen, but anyways, it's supposed to be on the right. Anyways, so what I do is I just have, these are for my color effects generator, and these are for my swipes. So when I record that swipe button with the output window, instead of selecting, so usually you would select like one of these colors, but instead I just select one of these. That way I can use it as a soft palette, and it'll auto update, which is ridiculously useful, because then I don't have to have like 5 different buttons for 5 different colors. And what used to happen is I would have those 5 buttons, and if I want to swipe if I wanted to swipe white from right to left, I couldn't do that because I would have to have another button. But this way I can, swipe right. I could swipe any color I want, any of the main colors. For this I just have RGB, C, and Y because those are the main colors. I can swipe any of these colors, and from any direction really. Now it is a little bit less, because a lot of times when I use it, the old way, I would just hit the buttons randomly, because they're all different enough colors, right? So here, if you want to do a color, like if you want to do a swipe to white, and then red, and then green, and then blue, you can't really do that really quickly. You have to be able to switch this over here. But it takes up less button space, and it's just simpler. If I had like more playback space, then I would probably still have those ones, the 5 buttons, but for now I don't, so I just keep it here. I have a bunch of effects here that I've added, and I have to organize them actually. So first, what I have to do, I have to make sure this one, so what I did there is I made sure the visor is set to inhibit, so that this effect doesn't take taps of time. So now, oh yeah, of course, I can't select anything here or touch anything because it's in view max and I don't have a wing connected, which I don't know why they do that. Like, it's a strange thing, because like if they can't output anything, what's the point of like, I don't know. I wish you could just view max without a wing. I don't know why they make it so that you have to have a wing to actually view max, because that makes it hard to, doesn't make it hard, it just makes it like annoying to program. I want to be able to see what it's going to look like when I do view max with the wing. Anyways, that's just a minor annoyance. annoyance. So I'm just gonna redo these regions. Most if not, yeah, most of my color effects use this right here, this color picker. These are all soft palettes, and something MA cannot do. So score for Chamsys, MA cannot have an effect with more than 3 values, if that makes sense. At least to my understanding, the effects engine on MA cannot do that. Maybe we'll have to see with MA3 if they've changed that, but right now the MA2 software cannot do like a 3 color effect. Well, Chamsys can, which is great. And so this is super simple to set up. It's basically, these are all soft palettes and they're recorded into these queues. So I don't go past 4 color effects, because at that point there's not much difference. The audience isn't gonna notice the difference between a 2 color effect, a 3 color effect, like and it takes more space. So I just stop at 3 colors. I mean, okay, they'll know the difference between a 2 and a 3 color effect, but a 3 and a 4, like, they won't notice really, because most of lighting is just subconscious, right? Anyways, so these right here, that's one thing I wish Chamsys would add, effect to modifiers, but they haven't yet. But it's my workaround, I guess. Are these all soloed? Nope. So my workaround for stomping is I just put all of my I just group all of my effects into like regions, I guess, and put them in a region. No, an area, I guess, and set a region. So all of these basically, soloing is basically stomping, but like specific stomping, which is good for me because I really like being able to know that if I hit this, it's going to deactivate everything else, right? So what I do is you can solo a bunch of Q stacks, and so usually if you solo like this, right? These are all Q stacks and are soloed, and what's happening is if they're all in a consecutive row, then it will deactivate anything else in that row. So this button will deactivate these and that, right? But another thing is if you put something underneath it, it won't. Well, okay, obviously since it's a copied, here, let's do this. I'm gonna set this to solo. Okay. So now, if I hit this, it's not gonna solo the top row because it doesn't look like that. But if you put it all in one region, it does. So now I can go over and hit one of these below it, and it will solo the top row, which is ridiculously useful because then you don't have to go into stomping. With MA, what you have to do is you have to actually, I'm not entirely sure how you do it in MA. Well, I do know how. I kind of figured out how to do it in MA, but again, I've only just started learning MA. So, but with this system, it's super fast because all you have to do is highlight this. Actually, why is it not? Okay, that was just a graphical thing, or not. Oh, it's because these can't solo. Yeah, okay. So you can just go over here and make them solo, so then all of your color effects, you only have one color effect selected at a time. And with these faders, which MA also does not have, you have to find a workaround for those. It's super easy because then I can select a rainbow effect, and I can activate it at a certain point. I can fade it in. I can do different values with that effect, and it will just work really easily, and it'll work on a certain group. So if I go into view options and function, you can see this is applied to the wrong group actually. I mean, it's fine, but the problem with this is that my group 1 has the key lighting in it, and I actually have to fix that. So I'm gonna make a backlight group, and then oh yeah, that's actually a problem, because if I go into here, you can see it's selected group 1, and that means it will also act on any so since my all group has my key lighting in it, this effect, although it would require me to have movement effects on the key lighting, but you know, just to be safe, because obviously you don't want to, I mean, unless you have like a very specific scenario where you want to put a movement effect on key lighting, that'd be interesting. But anyways, now these only controls the size of group 2, which is my backlighting. So now I'm basically excluding my key lighting from everything, because I don't want it, like for positions, I also actually have to do that as well. So let me just do that, and I'm just going to rename this to all. So basically now, when this is my position page. So now if I go to like if I go to one of my positions here, it won't affect my key lighting, because ideally you want to keep your key lighting, you know, on your performers, right? Now I guess a workaround for this is, you know, not having the key lighting in these cues, in these palettes, but it's just simple. For me, it's simpler to have them in these palettes. Usually I'll have the straight, the spread, the cross for the key lighting, and maybe the X and the V. Most of them, but not all of them. And I won't have many tilt, because you don't really have to move your tilt values with key lighting that much. So here's, you will probably have noticed I have a color picker here that's just different. And so I have two ways, okay, I guess I have 3 ways of doing color selection. So I have the main, you know, Christian Jackson color picker here, and I have the reason I have so many is just for flexibility, and they all work. So they all, I'm doing parentheses in here, and with finger quotes, they all stomp each other, kind of, because they're all, well, they're not all soloed, but oh, they're not like, actually, yeah, these you can't solo palettes, that's right. But so I have 3 systems. So I have on my main page, the idea with this main page is I can change whatever I need to on a dime if I want to. And these basically apply to the entire rig. If I want to do more specific selection, if I want to make my spots only, if I want to change the color of my spots, I just go over to colors, and then I can change that here. But if I just want to, change most of the show, I'm on this page because it has everything I need. So this right here is a really easy way of doing like 2 color combos for palettes without having to use this. I still use this because it's easy to use, but it uses the same. This is the same as this. It's just quicker. So you can basically these are 2 groups. So if I go to the outputs and look at these 2 groups, so I'll select my first one, color group 1. You can see half of the rig is selected, but like they're never next to each other, if that makes sense. If I select my other one, you can see it's selected the whole rig, but if I deselect, here you go, you can see it basically selects the other rig. You'll see what I mean if I do this. So now I can take these 2 groups and make a color picker, and if I want to do a combo of yellow and red, I can just do that, and here you go. There you go. Now if I want to change this color, if I want to change to like cyan and green, then it's super simple. I just select 2 colors, and this just makes it super easy to make simple color combos without having to go through and select different fixtures. It also lets you go beyond the whole thing of having a group of fixtures be one color, because the thing with this color picker is that it only applies to all the spots and all the beams. So if you want to change the colors in these groups, you can't really do that. So this lets you do that. And this color picker right here is the exact same thing, but it's just a easier way. That way I don't have to select two colors. Because what I don't like doing is I don't really like showing the audience when I'm setting things up. So if I want to set up a color combo of green and cyan, I don't want to be able the audience to see one group of lights change color and then the other. Like if I have everything at white, I don't want, if I have my lights on, I don't want the audience to be able to see that I'm changing to one group to green and one group to cyan, if that makes sense. Because then it's a kind of a theatrical mindset of usually the audience never sees the backstage crew, right? Because there's this thing where you never, if you can see the audience can see you. It kind of breaks the immersion, right? If you see a crew member in a play, it breaks the immersion and reminds you you're watching a play. But this is kind of like that. It kind of hides the crew, if that makes sense. This one right here, because then it does both at the same time, and you don't really register it. But it's the exact same thing. What I do to make these ones is, you can see over here, yep, here's the little bank. I just use the same groups here. So color 1 is white, color 2 is red. Just select both of those and record it there. And that's it. I just update all of these using those two groups, and it just makes it super easy to update these. Because what I would used to do is I'd go over view heads and do it manually that way, but I found that if you have, in smaller shows, that's fine, but if you have shows with a lot more moving lights, it's not, you can't do that. You don't have enough time. I mean, unless you do have enough time, by all means, but it's just easier to record a group, two groups, and have it do the exact same thing. So now I can go, oh, wrong one. Okay, I can go, what my other one is yellow. Oh, that's too much yellow. See, that's another thing I take into account. I do base colors with this picker, right? So this is the base color for this is red, base color is yellow, cyan, etc. The base color is on the left, and then the secondary color is on the right. That way, it just, I don't know, I actually don't know why I do that. It's just like, I don't know, it's a subconscious thing, I guess. I like having base colors, and you can see the base color for this is supposed to be red, but it looks more yellow. So what I do then is I just change. Oh, it still kind of looks yellow. Oh, the symmetry is wrong with this position, and I don't know how to fix it. Here you can kind of see this group. Actually, let me bring that one group, because I know exactly which group it is. Oh, it's not that one. I think it's that one. It's this one right here, where it just looks off. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it is annoying me. There's a bunch of like symmetrical stuff that really annoys me, especially with I have these side fixtures, and getting these symmetrical is a royal pain in the ass, but they look amazing, so it's worth it. Like usually I have a straight, and then what you have to do is I have to bring the pan in. So I'll just show this. So what I have to do is I have to bring the pan in, and then I do a symmetrical fan over here, and then I can do that, and it looks amazing. It just looks great. Like here, let me go back to, so that's the original, right? And if I just move this fader, bada bing, bada boom, there's a look. But it's you can't use the normal one if you want to. You can't use the normal fan because, yeah, it just doesn't work. Anyways, beams up. Okay, so I'm gonna finish updating that later, but that's basically how that works. And the great thing about this, whoa, that's super weird actually. Oh, it's, wait, what? I'm actually kind of confused. Oh, I think I have some of the same, I'll have to fix that later. Anyways, the problem is happening if I go here. I'm going through these two. Oh, no, I have to select that. Okay, here we go. Going through these two, but you can see some of the fixtures. So what's supposed to happen is the red is supposed to stay red, the white is supposed to change. But you can see some of them are turning from, you can see these ones right here, they're going from red to yellow, and you can see that right here too. So I'm gonna have to fix that. That's just a group selection thing, and basically just means I selected stuff wrong. Here, let me see. Aha. Should be that one. Nope. Ah, damn it. Wait, why did it do that actually? That doesn't make sense. Okay, I give up. I'm not redoing that. That took forever to do. You know, it didn't take forever, but it's just a pain in the ass to do, so I'm not going to redo that. But the concept's still there. I'm going to fix that later, but yeah, you can see now it's not working. Well, I mean, okay, you can't see it, but it's not working now. So, anyways, so what I'm doing with my Gobos, my Gobo page is still empty because I haven't gotten to those yet. I'm still kind of figuring out how I'm going to do my position page. I know I kind of want to do this overall setup, I guess. The only problem is I'm running out of space. You can see here. Usually I like having like a row, an empty row in between everything, and these are all just gonna be regions. So like I have my all regions, and then I can control the individual stuff. But you can see here I don't have any more space to do that, and I'm already running out of space here. So I'm probably just already going to bring this down, because I'm either going to find a way to make it work, or I'm just going to move the key. I'll make a proper page for the key lighting, and that's most likely what I'm gonna do, because this works really well. That way I can change the position. I have like my 3 groups, which I'm always gonna have these 3 groups, and I can just update the positions and stuff like that. And I have more space to expand my positions as well. So you can see here these are pans. I always have my pan values on the left, and then these are tilts, and then these have pan and tilt, and they're just kind of like special. And I have some fade times, so I can just make this a region. And you'll see here's a glitch with Chamsys. All these empty spots are going to be buttons. See? Let me just fix that. There we go. And now I can change the position. Super easy. Oh yeah, it's a group. Oh, why is it doing that? Oh, I hate it when it does this. It's ridiculous. I swear to God. I wish you could just solo palettes. But yeah, these are just changing the super simple. It's just changing the. Why is it doing that? It should not. It should not be doing that. Quite literally should not be doing that because they don't do this in the thing. So, anyways, I can set some fade times for them. So, if I go over here, bring the tilt, 10-second fade. And voila. So this is like maybe my X2. I don't know because it's sorry, I'm just getting frustrated. The thing is, I can't tell what's activated here. Is it the X? Is it the X? This is X2, but I put this because this just makes more sense to me. Is it my X2? Is it like, okay, what's activated here? Is it cross ACL spread or X2? Is it like, what is it? Is it straight ACL cross X? It's ridiculous. I don't know how to fix it because they're all different values. The only reason it does that is if you have a palette that has the same values as another palette, it will do that. But these don't. They're all different values. They'll have the same amount of lights in them, the same selection of lights in them. I don't understand. Chamsys, please help. Why is it doing this? Can it like not, please? Set this to group 2. I have to think about that. Because sometimes I like to put intensity effects. I'll take this out. I like to put intensity effects on my key light sometimes because it looks really, really cool. But I'll have to think about whether or not this will control that. Oh, it's 9. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to end the stream because I have to go meet someone in like 5 minutes downstairs. So I'll end the stream for now. I'm gonna save this, and I will be back. Maybe I might be back later, or I might just stream some Graname learning, or I might just not stream at all. I'm probably gonna spend the night learning Graname too, because yeah, that's a priority for me right now. Because I'm in Toronto instead of Belgium, but yeah. Anyways. Have a good day, and I hope the stream was useful. If it wasn't, then shit, but if it was, then yeah, cool, good, nice. Anyways, bye bye.